I'm Matt with eTrailer, and today we're going to be talking about the CURT Hitch Cargo Carrier in the back of a 2022 Nissan Rogue. Now, this is going to be a great option for you if you're running out of space in the Rogue, whether you have people back there or just a lot of luggage, or if you have anything that you don't want getting inside your vehicle, anything that has a lot of spillage like concrete or mulch. And this is also going to be a great one because it's designed to stay on the back of your vehicle because it does have that folding feature. So let's take a closer look at it. So the first thing to note is it's going to have a 500-pound weight capacity. Now, I do recommend not getting anywhere near that weight capacity because the Rogue does have a lower tongue weight. And this is going to be constructed from steel, so it's going to be very durable. And then it's going to have that black powder coat finish to it. And that finish is going to help it be more rust resistant. Now, that's going to mean you're going to have a lot of great tie-off points. You can tie off on any of these steel beams or even these thinner areas too because they are very sturdy. Now, this mesh will be okay too. I wouldn't recommend anything that needs to be tied in very tight because it could warp that, but these beams are going to work just fine. Now, if you do have any metal hooks on here, that could scrape some of that finish off, so definitely be mindful of that. Next, I'm going to get some dimensions of the inside of this so we see what we're dealing with. So the width is going to be about 47 and a half inches. The length is going to be 19 inches. And then the total height or depth is going to be a little bit over 5.5 inches. So that kind of gives you an idea of what you can fit in here. Now, how it's going to sit on the back. As you can see, this does stick out pretty far. So if I go from our back bumper to the back of the carrier, that's going to be about 32 inches, which is going to stick out a decent amount. Definitely be mindful if you're in a tight spot like a parking spot or garage. And to go off of that, since this is sticking out pretty far, it's something to think about with ground clearance too, because we're only going to have 9 inches of ground clearance. So if you have this loaded up too, as you can see, just me putting a little bit of weight on top of this, you're already losing an inch. So if you're going up a steep hill, you definitely got to watch out for that so you don't make contact with the ground. And how it's going to interact with the back of our vehicle today. We measured earlier, and we measured up to about 35 inches before we make hatch contact. And that is because this does stick out a decent amount. What I recommend though is keeping it below that. I'd recommend keeping it around more 22-ish inches because if you keep it below that, you're not going to block your license plate. You might probably block a little bit of your backup camera though, so if that's the case, I'd recommend relying on your mirrors, but your taillights and back window won't be obstructed. Now, if you're not hauling anything with it, you can fold this up. All you have to do is come over here, pull this safety clip, push this pin out, and now you can fold it up. And just make sure you put that pin back through the bottom so it's very secure. Sometimes you gotta put some force behind it, and just make sure you put that safety clip back through. And now, if I get some measurements to see how it's going to interact on the back of here, a little bit tricky to get that because I can't get right next to it, but give you a rough estimate. That's going to stick out around a foot. So that's not bad at all. It's going to save you a lot of space. And from this position, it still isn't going to block anything. It's going to sit right below your license plate. And you're only going to pick up a little bit of it on your backup camera too. And the way it's going to install is you're just going to have this 2-inch shank that goes into your 2-inch hitch receiver. Then you're going to have a pin that goes through and connects to a safety clip. Now, this doesn't come with an anti-rattle device. So as you can see, this does rattle quite a bit. So what I'd recommend doing is investing on a website. You can find either an anti-rattle pin or a plate that'll keep this more secure. And if you do that, it's going to prevent a lot of damage from occurring on your carrier. But overall, I think if you are worried about space and you don't want to take your carrier on and off all the time, then I think this is going to be a great option for you since it does have that fold-up feature. But if you liked everything you saw today, that's just a look at the CURT Hitch Cargo Carrier on the back of our 2022 Nissan Rogue.